Good afternoon. So we are doing the factors affecting temperature. सबसे पहले latitude, उसके बाद altitude, उसके बाद distance between the sea. So diurnal का मतलब है daily range of temperature is minimum in the coastal या interiors in the coastal regions. So इसलिए NCERT का एक क्वेश्चन है, दैट इज इंसोलेशन बेस्ड एक क्वेश्चन है एनसीईआरटी का, कॉमन डाउट है वो, उसमें दिया है, आई डोंट एग्जैक्टली रिमेंबर द चैप्टर. 4 सिटीज दी है, तिरुवनंतपुरम, चंडीगढ़. विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग सिटीज विल हैव द मैक्सिमम अमाउंट ऑफ डे लाइट? सो डे लाइट मैक्सिमम विल बी देयर एज यू गो अवे फ्रॉम द इक्वेटर. सो एक ऑप्शन है हैदराबाद, एक ऑप्शन है तिरुवनंतपुरम. The other option is Nagpur and the last option is Chandigarh. So what is the answer? Chandigarh. जितना आप इक्वेटर से दूर जाओगे during the summers the day will be longer. So daylight is maximum away from the equator. Similarly ऐसा क्वेश्चन आ सकता है regarding the temperature range. So temperature range is greatest in monsoon type of climate या savanna type of climate या equatorial type of climate या polar type of climate. सबसे ज़्यादा इन चारों में. फॉर एग्जाम्पल चलो और क्वेश्चन सिंप्लीफाई करता हूँ. दैट इज द रेंज ऑफ टेम्परेचर, डेली टेम्परेचर रेंज या एनुअल टेम्परेचर रेंज इज ग्रेटेस्ट इन इंडिया और रशिया? रशिया, बिकॉज इट इज़ वेरी वेरी फार अवे फ्रॉम द सी एंड इट इज़ अ वेरी बिग पार्ट. रशिया में साइबेरिया में समर टेम्परेचर 30 डिग्री सेल्सियस होना ही नहीं चाहिए एट सच हाई लैटिट्यूड्स, एंड विंटर टेम्परेचर -60 डिग्री सेल्सियस. 90 डिग्री सेल्सियस का रेंज है इन द साइबेरियन रीजन. सो समर्स आर जस्ट लाइक इंडिया एंड विंटर्स आर जस्ट लाइक कारगिल. सो समर्स आर लाइक यू कैन से पेनिनसुलर इंडिया. सो एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ दिस याद रखना द रेंज ऑफ टेम्परेचर का अप्लाइड क्वेश्चन. द लास्ट पार्ट हियर रिगार्डिंग द क्वेश्चंस विल बी the difference between the nature of land and water. So ये है चार. Why there is a concept of photic zone and aphotic zone. Photic zone where the water sunlight can penetrate up to a greater distance. Aphotic zone where the sunlight cannot penetrate. Next concept आता है उसमें regarding the mobility of water. Water is mobile, land is not mobile. The third concept आता है regarding the specific heat. Now what is the specific heat? The amount of heat that is required for a substance to raise its temperature by 1 degree. In simple words, how much amount of heat you will have to give. So specific heat, अगर ये भी confusion लग रहा है तो simple specific heat. बटर को कितनी heat देनी पड़ती है एज मेल्ट करने के लिए, एज कम्पेयर टू आयरन को कितनी हीट देनी पड़ती है मेल्ट करने के लिए. सो आयरन की हीट इज मोर, स्पेसिफिक हीट इज मोर, बटर वैसे ही मेल्ट हो जाएगा. सिमिलरली द स्पेसिफिक हीट ऑफ वाटर इज मोर एज कम्पेयर टू लैंड. लैंड बहुत जल्दी कूल होता है एंड वार्म होता है. वाटर टेक्स टाइम टू गेट कूल्ड एंड वार्म्ड. सो आफ्टर दैट द नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट कंसेप्ट, आई गेस दिस आर द 4 पॉइंट्स. सो द 5th पॉइंट, 6th पॉइंट आर वेरी इजी. इसमें से क्वेश्चंस नहीं आएंगे, ये सिर्फ पता होना चाहिए. डायरेक्ट इंडायरेक्ट क्वेश्चंस नहीं आएंगे इसमें से. दैट इज द 5th पॉइंट विच इज अफेक्टिंग द टेम्परेचर इज यस्टरडेज एप्लीकेशन. Atmospheric stability and instability. So आज सुबह was there stability in the atmosphere or instability? Instability. And now there is a atmospheric stability. So can I say atmospherically unstable conditions will promote rainfall and decrease the temperature, and atmospherically stable conditions will increase the temperature. So the temperature is highest in the region which is almost stable, that is desert. डेजर्ट में बारिश ही नहीं है. सो वी हैव एन वेरी वेरी हाई टेम्परेचर इन द डेजर्ट रीजन. गेटिंग इट? इंस्टेबिलिटी, अंडमान एंड निकोबार कंटिन्यूसली इनस्टेबल बिकॉज ट्रॉपिकल एवरग्रीन फॉरेस्ट है, रोज बारिश होगी वहाँ पे. एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ दिस दिन में तो बहुत ज़्यादा गर्मी है, बट रात में बारिश के बाद गर्मी कम हो जाती है. So this is what is known as instability, and stability is going to affect the temperature. So you can take down Atmospheric stability. Atmospheric stability promotes aridity. Aridity means dryness. Promotes aridity and thus increases the temperature. Thus increases the temperature. Increases the temperature. While cloudiness, while rainfall and cloudiness will decrease the temperature. ये एक बहुत जनरल रूल है, बट एक चीज़ ये भी याद रखना कि इफ़ देर आर क्लाउड्स टेम्परेचर विल ऑल्सो इंक्रीज बिकॉज क्लाउड इज़ अ कलेक्शन ऑफ वाटर वेपर विच विल ट्रैप द लॉन्ग वेव रेडिएशन. बट लिखने के लिए एक जनरल रूल है व्हेन वी कंपेयर द टू स्टेबिलिटी वर्सेस इंस्टेबिलिटी. वन ऑफ द अदर थिंग इज though we are not doing the ocean currents, उसका basic information I am giving to understand the different types of biomes. Yes, rainfall से compare. Winter season में भी, for example, winter season में stability instability. Winter season में अभी rainfall हुआ तो ठंड एकदम बढ़ गई. जब rainfall नहीं था तो थोड़ी कम ठंड थी. The same thing. But you cannot compare winter and summer. एक रीजन में अगर बारिश हो रही है, एक रीजन में बारिश नहीं हो रही है, इन द सेम सीजन, वो वैसे कंपेयर करना है. ओशन करंट. सो एनी आइडिया व्हाट आर ओशन करंट्स? मूवमेंट ऑफ वाटर. मूवमेंट ऑफ वाटर इज सुनामी, वेव्स, टाइड्स, ओशन करंट्स. व्हेन ओशन वाटर मूव्स सेम लाइक अ रिवर, जैसे रिवर लंबी है and it moves in a specific direction. So similarly inside the oceans, if you go in deep oceans, you will see in the deep ocean there is a river like thing which is moving, not near the shore. So in the deep oceans, when the ocean water moves in a specific direction which is similar to the river on the land, we will call it as an ocean current. Generally क्यों होता है? Due to temperature difference. Temperature difference से winds होती है and winds के कारण there is our ocean currents. And what do this ocean currents do? Suppose this is our imaginary continent and this is a second imaginary continent. बीच में there is an equator and these are the polar regions. So warm water from the equator will go towards the poles. Warm water from the equator will go towards the polar regions. Any idea ये direction ऐसा क्यों है? Because there is a force in climate will come that is known as Coriolis force. As per the Coriolis force, any moving object in northern southern hemisphere, it can be ocean currents, it can be winds, it can be plane, it can be your paper plane when you throw it properly. So it will get deflected to the right hand side in the northern hemisphere and it will get deflected to the left hand side in the southern hemisphere. That is what is the Coriolis force. So ocean currents are deflected to the right hand side and they go and they hit the parts of continents, the western parts of the continents in both the hemispheres. So what do we see surprisingly is in this region of the world, जहाँ पे the temperature should be extremely cold, यहाँ पे the temperatures are warmer, warm, not hot. Warm मतलब summer temperature is around 21 degrees Celsius. जबकि होना चाहिए in the, had there been no ocean currents, the summer temperature would have been 10 degrees Celsius. But the summer temperature is warmer. Winter temperature in this latitude should be minus 10, minus 20 degrees Celsius, but winter temperature is 0 degrees Celsius. मतलब 20 डिग्री से 10 से 20 डिग्री Celsius the temperature is warmer. As a result of this, summers are not very hot like India, winters are not very cold like the Russia. And because of this, this part of the world, people have best energy. And this is considered to be the best climate for physical and mental development. I am talking about European type of climate, West European type of climate. जहाँ पे समर का टेम्परेचर इज 20 to 21 डिग्री सेल्सियस एंड विंटर टेम्परेचर इज 0 to 4 डिग्री सेल्सियस. So 21 degree Celsius is our winter temperature. Remember, we are in tropics. Summer का temperature our is 45 degree Celsius के आसपास. So as a result of this, this is the most advanced economies of the world. West Europe, it includes France, it includes Britain, it includes some parts of Scandinavia, it includes Germany, it includes Netherlands, all this region. दूसरा hurricane, cyclones. Cyclones, hurricanes originate in any ocean जहाँ पे the temperature is greater than 27 degree Celsius. अब this is the region जहाँ पे hurricanes और cyclones और the typhoons are very common. क्यों? एक तो tropics है, गर्म already है, plus warm ocean current will increase the intensity. As a result of this, you can see US में कितना powerful है the cyclones. They are known as hurricanes in USA. China में they are known as typhoons because in this part. So ये पूरा पानी गर्म है. This entire water is warm. All this red color what you see is warm as compared to the surrounding. ये surrounding region है, इसमें temperature is more warmer. So it is like river, continuously it is moving. So what do the ocean currents do? Ocean currents will affect the temperature of this region. यहाँ पे बहुत cold होना चाहिए था, but it is warmer. यहाँ पे they will affect the temperature of this region कि there are heat waves which are caused. Third, because of ocean currents, Russia is more powerful country in Arctic Ocean rather than USA. Why? Because ये समझो Atlantic. This is USA and Canada. This is Europe. And Europe के ऊपर Russia. So in the Arctic Ocean, Russian, all the ports should be covered with ice throughout the year. But Russian ports are ice free throughout the year. Why? Warm ocean current. Warm ocean currents are going. Russian ports are ice free throughout the year. Yes, they are more colder. So this is what is ocean current. ये सिर्फ अभी याद रखना, ये हमें climate में लिखना नहीं है. There are some ocean currents which are known as cold ocean currents. They originate from the polar regions and they come to the equatorial regions. And thus क्या होता है? Because of ocean currents, there is a heat transfer. And because of heat transfer, life is possible on the earth. Had there been no ocean currents and winds, this area would have been so warm that life would not have been possible. This area had been so cold that no life possible. There is a transfer of heat. But ये जो blue lines है, cold ocean currents, इनके दो impact है. One impact is where the cold and warm ocean currents meet, there is temperature inversion. That is our next topic, just as we finish the factors. And wherever there is temperature inversion, there are dense fogs. Fogs, you know what is fogs? So dense fogs. And because of dense fogs, visibility is reduced, right? अब ये जो blue line है, cold currents, they bring large amount of icebergs, big icebergs with them, because ocean currents का speed is around 35 kilometers per hour. अगर if you are a good captain of a ship, you will put your ship in ocean current, and ocean current फिर उस side लेके जाएगी जिधर आपको जाना है. They are very powerful. जैसे jet streams are very powerful. If you are a good pilot, you will put your plane in jet stream. If you are a bad pilot and if you try to put your plane in jet stream, flight crash हो जाएगा. It is not that easy. These are very powerful mechanisms on the atmosphere. Flight plane बहुत ही छोटी चीज़ है in compared to the jet stream. कितनी बड़ी ship, सबसे बड़ी cruise इतनी दिखेगी. And you see the ocean currents. And therefore you know that Titanic accident कैसे हुआ. Visibility is reduced and icebergs are brought by the current, and thus it cut through the Titanic. So this is the region which is best fishing region in the world because of mixing of cold and warm ocean currents, but it is also the worst region for navigation. It is the region for accidents. Fog में तो अभी आपको देखोगे यमुना एक्सप्रेसवे, piling up of the cars etc. It will be very common here also. So यहाँ पे ships हो रहा है, हमारे इसमें road पे होता है. The only difference is that हमारे यहाँ पे trains delay हो जाती है because fogs will reduce the visibility. So, but second most important thing is in the tropics, यहाँ पे, in the tropics, on the western coast of the continents, in the subtropical belt, somewhere here, cold current is coming. Because the cold current is coming, high pressure या low pressure? High pressure. High pressure में हवा नीचे आएगी, ऊपर जाएगी? नीचे आएगी. The air is forced to come down. And इसीलिए we will study in some lectures, deserts are always located on the western coast of the continents. This is one reason for the location of desert. अगर ये यूरेशिया है, so और अफ्रीका है, this is Sahara desert. Similarly, there is a cold ocean current. This is Kalahari desert. This is Atacama desert. This is California desert. All the deserts, hot deserts of the world are located on the western coast of the continents. India is an exception. India का जो desert है, it is not for this reason. तो Thar desert छोड़ के बाकी जितने भी deserts है, hot deserts, they are located because they are washed by the ocean currents. So ocean currents itself is a very big topic, but here we just should know what is the impact of the ocean currents. Fine with this? Air is forced to come down. When the air is forced to come down, it will not give rainfall. कल ही हमने बनाया था. When the air is forced to go up, it will give rainfall. I will explain that with the help of humidity when we do the humidity वाला chapter. Yeah, simple. अभी air वेयर छोड़ो. Rainfall के लिए there has to be humidity. Humidity के लिए there has to be evaporation. Evaporation will occur in cold water or warm water? Warm water. Cyclones. Evaporation. हाई प्रेशर में हवा नीचे आने के बाद बाहर जाती है. पहले हवा तो नीचे आनी चाहिए. नहीं. बाहर मतलब कहाँ? हाँ. रुको, don't confuse too many things. हवा जो भी नीचे है, it will diverge only. हवा जो भी ऊपर जा रही है, it has to converge. Converging air when it goes up, rainfall. Divergence, no rainfall. You will understand this concept in relative humidity. अभी नहीं समझ में आएगा. There is a concept of relative humidity. Okay, you take down. मेरे को doubt नहीं समझा. So you can take down the ocean currents. Ocean currents are powerful mechanism. Ocean currents are the powerful mechanism for heat transfer. For heat transfer from lower to higher latitudes. For heat transfer from lower to higher latitudes. The regions which are washed by warm ocean currents, regions which are washed by warm ocean currents, washed by warm ocean currents, will experience washed by warm ocean currents will experience higher temperatures as compared to the temperature of the other places in the same latitudes. As compared to the temperature of the same other places in the same latitudes. As compared to the temperature of other places in the same latitudes. समझ में आया इसका meaning? For example, if this is a place, इसका temperature A will be greater than the temperature of B. The temperature of this X will be greater than the temperature of Y, maybe, at the same latitudes. Example, ये हम बाद में डिटेल में करेंगे while doing the climates, environment, biome. British type of climate, British type of climate or West European type of climate, West European type of climate owes its origin, West European type of climate owes, OWES, its origin to the warming effect, to the warming effect of, इस ओशन करंट का नाम है, वार्म करंट का, नॉर्थ अटलांटिक ड्रिफ्ट, नॉर्थ अटलांटिक ड्रिफ्ट.
इस केस में कैसे होगा टेम्परेचर रेंज जो भी एक्स और वाई प्लेसेस में, जैसे मतलब एक्स की जगह कम टेम्परेचर है एज कम्पेयर टू वाई, तो फिर टेम्परेचर रेंज में भी क्या होगा?
टेम्परेचर रेंज तो वेरी करेगा.
मतलब जैसे हम नॉर्मल केसेस में देखते हैं कि कोस्टल रीजन के पास जो होता है उसका टेम्परेचर रेंज कम होता है एज कम्पेयर टू, सो इस केस में भी वैसे ही होगा.
विंटर्स विल नॉट बी वेरी सीवियर, समर्स विल, यहाँ पे इंटीरियर्स में विंटर्स आर वेरी सीवियर, समर्स आर वेरी सीवियर.
सर और ये ओरिजिनेट कैसे होते हैं?
कौन? ओशन करंट्स, ओशनोग्राफी, नॉट नाउ. किसी भी कोस्टल रीजन में, किसी भी कोस्टल रीजन में. अल नीनो क्या है? एक ओशन करंट ही है, याद रखना. सो ओशन करंट इटसेल्फ इट्स अ वेरी बिग टॉपिक. बर्मुडा ट्रायंगल क्या है? ओशन करंट है. स्टोरी हैज बीन क्रिएटेड ऑफ बर्मुडा ट्रायंगल, वैसे इट इज एन इम्पैक्ट ऑफ ओशन करंट. सो ओशन करंट ओरिजिन, इम्पैक्ट, इट्स इटसेल्फ इज अ सेपरेट लेक्चर इन इटसेल्फ. In the regions of cold current, in the regions of cold current, temperature drops, temperature drops. And in the trade wind belt, in the trade wind belt, in the trade wind belt, we'll do the winds today itself. In the trade wind belt, the western coast of the continents, the western coast of the continents have deserts due to the desiccating effect, due to the desiccating effect, deserts due to the desiccating, desiccating in simple English means lack of moisture, due to the desiccating effect of cold currents, due to the desiccating effect of the cold currents. ज़्यादा रेनफॉल बहुत है. Monsoon always on the eastern coast, deserts always on the western coast. ऐसे ही होता है, यही होता है. वाटर बॉडी अगर होगी तो ईस्ट कोस्ट वेस्ट कोस्ट कैसे होगा? रिवर इज नॉट एट ऑल इम्पॉर्टेंट सोर्स ऑफ मॉइस्चर. इम्पॉर्टेंट सोर्स ऑफ मॉइस्चर इज सी, ओशंस, रिवर नहीं. थोड़ा बहुत तो बाजू में लेक होगा तो उस एरिया में ज़्यादा बारिश होगी. रिमेंबर वी आर नॉट डूइंग लोकल क्लाइमेट. लोकल क्लाइमेट अगर आप पढ़ने जाओगे यू विल गेट कंफ्यूज्ड, यू विल गो मैड लिटरली. लोकल क्लाइमेट, दिल्ली के हर किलोमीटर के बाद क्लाइमेट चेंज हो रहा है. जियोमॉर्फोलॉजी नहीं है कि एक जगह हिमालयाज है तो है. सुबह का क्लाइमेट अलग है, एक घंटे बाद का क्लाइमेट अलग है. यू डोंट नो शाम में क्या क्लाइमेट होगा, बारिश होगी या नहीं. मॉनसून अभी तक प्रेडिक्ट नहीं कर पा रहे हम आफ्टर सो मच टेक्नोलॉजिकल इन्वेंशन. सो डोंट गो इनटू लोकल क्लाइमेट. लिमिट योर सेल्फ टू क्लाइम जो वर्ल्ड हम वी इनफैक्ट इन जीएस वी जस्ट डू द मैक्रो क्लाइमेट कि क्या क्या हो सकता है. हम इंडिया को कहते हैं मॉनसून टाइप ऑफ क्लाइमेट, बट इंडिया में टुंड्रा भी है, इंडिया में डेजर्ट्स भी है, इंडिया में ट्रॉपिकल एवरग्रीन फॉरेस्ट भी है, इंडिया में सवाना भी है. हरियाणा इज व्हाट सवाना टाइप ऑफ ग्रासलैंड्स. पंजाब इज अ मिक्सचर ऑफ सवाना ग्रासलैंड्स एंड ड्राई deciduous forest. So local climate of any place will keep on varying. मॉनसून जितना जो सिंपल लग रहा था कि अल नीनो कॉजेस ड्रॉट्स इन इंडियन मॉनसून. 1997 वाज द स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट अल नीनो ईयर एंड उस साल सबसे ज़्यादा बारिश हुई इंडिया में. फिर तब पता चला डिस्कवरी करके कि देयर इज समथिंग नोन एज इंडियन ओशन डाइपोल. दैट मीन्स इवन द सैटेलाइट्स कैनॉट से. इसीलिए तो व्हेन IMD डिक्लेयर्स कि बारिश होने वाली है उस दिन बारिश होती नहीं है. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि IMD इज नॉट एफिशिएंट. मॉनसून इज या क्लाइमेट का एवरीथिंग इज सो कॉम्प्लेक्स बिकॉज इट इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन न्यूमरस मॉइस्चर कंडीशंस. अर्थक्वेक का डिपेंडेंट ओनली ऑन कन्वेक्शनल करंट्स है तो अर्थक्वेक है. यहाँ पे सन कितना है, क्लाइमेट में धूल कितनी है, सिटी के आसपास कितनी गाड़ियाँ है, सो धूल ज़्यादा है कि नहीं, इट इज़ ऑल गोइंग टू अफेक्ट इंसोलेशन. गेटिंग दिस? कोल्ड करंट्स मॉइस्चर नहीं लाएंगे. अभी ओशन करंट्स भूल जाओ. So these are the factors that affect the temperature. Ocean currents, winds will also affect the temperature. So the last factor is winds. वो एक अलग टॉपिक ही है. You will understand why how the winds will affect. So just वहाँ पे लिखना refer to winds. Horizontal distribution we have already done. That is the temperature goes on decreasing from equator towards the poles. But the highest temperature is not found in the equatorial region. That is equatorial region means 0 to 5 degree north and 0 to 5 degree south. Highest temperature are found in this belt. So horizontal distribution of temperature, this is one fact which we have already written, but second GK based question I am asking you, horizontal distribution of temperature mein if there is variation, there will be more variation in the northern hemisphere or in the southern hemisphere? There is more variation on the water bodies or on the land? Land. So land kahan pe zyada hai, northern mein ya southern mein? Northern hemisphere mein. So there will be more variation in the northern hemisphere. So take down horizontal distribution. First point तो मैं बहुत fast repeat कर रहा हूँ because we have already written. In general, the temperature goes on decreasing from equator towards the poles. फिर से repeat करूँ? In general, the temperature goes on decreasing from equator towards the poles. But the highest temperature is found in subtropical high pressure belt. Is found in subtropical high pressure belt. The horizontal distribution of temperature is shown by imaginary lines. Known as isotherms. Iso matlab same, therms means temperature. Is known as isotherms. Last point in horizontal distribution. temperature variation temperature variation is greater in northern hemisphere is greater in northern hemisphere because of differential मैं थोड़े टफ वर्ड्स दे रहा हूँ सो दैट एग्जाम में द वर्ड्स इफ दे कम इन इजी मैनर दैट यू कैन ऑलरेडी नो differential distribution of land and water differential distribution of land and water simple english में क्या होगा because northern hemisphere is dominated by land and southern hemisphere is dominated by water इसी को हम कहेंगे differential distribution of land and water when we do the vertical distribution in the vertical distribution you already know the rule what is the rule if this is the ground 0 kilometers if we are standing on the ground the temperature is going to increase or decrease जैसे आप ऊपर जाओगे the temperature will go on decreasing so अगर ये ग्राफ है on the y axis there is temperature can I say this is how the temperature will go to on decreasing at the rate of 6.5 degrees Celsius for every kilometers or 165 मीटर के लिए कितना 1 degree Celsius for every 165 meters कुछ simple mathematics convert that so this is what is known as normal lapse rate that means in any place irrespective of whatever the temperature is that of a place 0 degrees भी हो सकता है 100 degrees भी हो सकता है ऊपर जाओगे तो temperature should go on decreasing इसलिए हमने किया देखा है ट्रोपोपॉज में the coldest temperature is over the equator क्योंकि troposphere का height is greater over the equator remembering this what is the temperature at tropopause minus 60 degrees Celsius because the temperature goes on decreasing is this rule for entire all the 4 layers of the atmosphere or only for troposphere and mesosphere this rule will apply to troposphere and mesosphere so which is the coldest layer of the atmosphere tropopause या mesopause mesopause कहाँ पे है -80 it is mesopause भूल गए revise this all things that means can I say अगर नीचे warm है temperature तो ऊपर it should be cool और ऊपर जाओगे तो it should be cold और ऊपर जाओगे तो it should be colder और coldest जितना आप ऊपर जाओगे इसीलिए we generally see mountains जितना आप ऊपर जाओगे तो उतना there will be chances of glaciers जितना हम ऊपर जाएंगे उतना there will be the temperature will go on decreasing so is this the vertical distribution of temperature right but imagine sometimes नीचे का टेम्परेचर इज कोल्ड और कूल एंड ऊपर का टेम्परेचर इज वार्म ऊपर मतलब नॉट अप टू एंड ऑफ ट्रोपोस्फियर ओनली नियर टू द ग्राउंड so is it opposite to the normal condition and this condition is what is known as temperature inversion वो हम पढ़ने वाले हैं कैसे होता है the temperature inversion getting this is the season of temperature inversion जो अभी तक था but बारिश आते ही temperature inversion has been removed. You will understand why. So take down temperature inversion. I am not dictating vertical distribution, this you already know. The temperature goes on decreasing at 6.5 degrees Celsius for every kilometer. हमने reasons भी देखे हैं why. नदन नदन का एटमॉस्फेयर का या सी का सदन का because water has the capacity to retain heat. Temperature inversion. Yes, he radiate करेगा. In the normal conditions, temperature decreases with increasing altitude. Temperature decreases with the increasing altitude. But sometimes there is a dominance of cold air near the ground. There is a dominance of cold air near the ground and warm air above. Thus the temperature increases with the increasing height. Such condition which is characterized by negative lapse rate. Is characterized by negative lapse rate. Is known as temperature inversion. Such condition which is characterized by negative lapse rate is known as temperature inversion. You can draw this diagram. ऐसे diagrams तो सब बनाओ exam में. क्या? Sure. नहीं बाद में. Can you see the difference? यहाँ पे the temperature is increasing, यहाँ पे the temperature is decreasing. This is normal lapse rate. Lapse मतलब कम होना. And this is negative lapse rate. Lapse itself is a negative sign. Lapse मतलब कम होना. Negative lapse rate. Negative and negative means positive. So negative lapse rate means temperature is increasing. नहीं वो हम एक लाइन लिखेंगे. Have you drawn this diagram? ये अगर कंफ्यूज कर रहा है तो ये मत करना. Can I continue? Temperature inversion. Temperature inversion occurs only in troposphere. Temperature inversion occurs only in troposphere. Temperature inversion occurs only in the troposphere. And mostly very near to the ground surface. Mostly very near to the ground surface. Mostly very near to the ground surface. So ऐसा नहीं है कि ट्रोपोस्फियर में हवा कम हो, स्ट्रेटोस्फियर में इंक्रीज हो रहा है तो टेम्परेचर इन्वर्जन है. वी आर कंसिडरिंग ओनली अबाउट द फिनोमेना ऑफ ट्रोपोस्फियर. So in normal conditions in the troposphere, the temperature should decrease. It is increasing, so it is temperature inversion. There are two types of temperature inversion. There are two types of temperature inversion. This test had a question also, Saturday ka. Prelims test series wala, not your NCERT. दिया था कि नहीं टेस्ट? सब लोग देते जाओ टेस्ट, पढ़ाई हो या ना हो, गिव द टेस्ट. Syllabus, even if it is not covered, at least you will get an idea of how the questions are coming. The prelims test series ka questions are, पहली test was तो disaster, I also know that. So the prelims test series ka question are very different from your NCERT ka questions. They are more of an applied question. So there will be many things you don't know. Don't get disappointed by it. आओ टेस्ट दो and attend the discussions. जब भी आपका वो पोर्शन कवर हो जाएगा, you will realize कि कैसे questions आते हैं, what you are studying and questions कैसे applied आ रहे हैं. For example, I had given you a question on advectional as well as non-advectional inversion in the prelims test series. Now, in geography, what do you mean by advection? You already know. When there is a movement of air. What do you mean by no advection? Means no movement of air. So, advectional inversion क्या होगा? Which involves movement of air. Temperature inversion has been your question in mains 2 times. Prelims में तो 5-6 बार. Which involves the movement of air. Advection means movement of air. And non-advectional inversion. In which there is no movement of air. In which there is no movement of air. Example 1 is valley inversion, जो NCERT में दिया है. Example 2 is sea fogs. Example 3 is sea smoke. We'll look at all three. Mains में अगर आता है, stop at one only. Don't go because answer will be, इतना time नहीं होगा कि you are writing all the types. Because most important है this non-advectional inversion. Example is known as ground inversion और एक ही है इसका, radiation inversion. Ground inversion or radiation inversion. So here we'll first start with the ground inversion because this is more important as it is happens in India. ये बहुत ही localized phenomena है. Sea fogs will occur only when there is a mixing up of warm and cold ocean currents, and sea smoke जैसा इन्वर्जन आपके घर में रोज बाथरूम में हो रहा है. दैट इज जब आप गर्म पानी डालते हो बकेट में जो धुआं निकलता है, दैट इज नथिंग बट टेम्परेचर इन्वर्जन. It is not actually a temperature inversion, it is condensation का one part, but it is taken as a part of an temperature inversion. So we'll first start with the non-advectional inversion. इसलिए पढ़ रहे हैं हम, हो रहा है इसलिए. Non-advectional inversion means no movement of air or very little movement of air. Now suppose this is Delhi and this is the ground surface. During the winters, will the floor or the ground of Delhi become very cold? Yes. Can you walk without footwear in the extreme cold? No. So therefore we wear socks also here. It becomes very cold. Is air a good conductor or a bad conductor of heat? Air is a bad conductor of heat. So the ground becomes very cold. Why? Because of the winters, as the sun is in the southern hemisphere. Imagine this condition happens in Delhi. So what will happen when there is a snowfall in Shimla, Kullu Manali, etc. these regions? As a result of this, ये जो air का parcel है which is coming, which is over the ground, this is entire parcel of air. The parcel of air which comes in the contact with the immediate ground surface, this parcel of air, if it is there, which is coming into the contact, ये move नहीं कर रहा है, ये stagnant air है which is there. Because it comes into the contact with the ground surface, it becomes cold. But as air is a bad conductor of heat, it cannot transfer the heat or cold efficiently. So ऊपर का air remains warm. Very simple. Is this not an non-advectional inversion? What is temperature inversion? नीचे की air ठंडी होनी चाहिए, ऊपर की air गर्म होनी चाहिए. This is what is known as non-advectional inversion. Why it is known as ground inversion? Because it is caused on the ground due to cooling. Why it is known as radiation inversion? Because excess heat is lost by the ground due to the radiation. Due to radiation, terrestrial radiation. So this kind of inversion is known as a ground inversion. What is the impact of this ground inversion? The impact of this ground inversion, you are going to see this. थोड़ा बहुत water vapor is always there in the atmosphere, right? So when the cold air is, and this is a warm air, it is having some kind of an water vapor. The cold air will cool the water vapor that is present in the warm air. Water vapor after cooling will become what? Water droplets. This water droplets will be very, very tiny, and this water droplets which are tiny will accumulate here at the boundary. And इसको आप कहोगे fog. It will result into the formation of fog. सबसे cold air नीचे होगी, so ये पूरा fog बन जाएगा. Fog in हिंदी कोहरा. नहीं, ये काम कर. Fog in Hindi is kohra. So the same thing happens when you keep a glass of extremely cold water. So whatever the water vapor is there in the room, this will get stick to the glass particle and glass के ऊपर पानी आ जाएगा. क्या हो रहा है? Condensation. The same thing is happening here. When you take out that glass, पानी नीचे गिरता है या नहीं, या उधर ही रहता है? घर में जाना, keep a glass of cold water and उठाओ उस ग्लास को, पानी नीचे नहीं गिरेगा, ऐसा टपकेगा नहीं, because precipitation नहीं होगा, सिर्फ condensation होगा. Fogs बारिश नहीं देता. It does not give precipitation. Precipitation is by clouds, because precipitation के लिए the water droplet has to be bigger so that it can be attracted by gravity. Otherwise the water droplet is very, very small. Precipitation के लिए आपको ग्लास को उल्टा करना पड़ेगा जो उसके अंदर पानी है. So this is I wanted to show you this, पर ठंडा पानी मिला नहीं फ्रिज में. So otherwise it is very simple. Condensation and precipitation के बीच का difference. So this will result into formation of fogs. But in the city like Delhi, fog plus smoke will result into formation of smoke. Understanding why with the coming up of winters the smog and air pollution is increasing. एक तो air is coming down plus the fog के साथ smoke will mix and there will be formation of smogs. So maximum in the early morning या in the afternoon. कब होता है सबसे ज़्यादा smog? Early morning. Why? Because सबसे ज़्यादा ठंड कब होती है? In the morning. As soon as the sun will come out during the daytime, the water droplets will evaporate and the fog will start disappearing. Except if it is peak December or January, when the fog will become light. वो disappear नहीं हो पाएगा because the sun rays do not have that much power as the sun is in the southern hemisphere to evaporate the water droplets. So this is what is the ground inversion. A phenomena, everyday phenomena in the permafrost region, जहाँ पे पूरा ice है surface पे, that is the tundra. A winter phenomena in the lower latitudes, in the tropical and the subtropical region. Totally absent near the equator because equator does not have winters. Getting it? So this is what is the ground inversion. But इसके लिए there are some conditions. ये conditions रट लो class में ही. There are some conditions, and if you can know the conditions to fight Delhi का pollution, you just have to reverse the conditions. ये जो आजकल क्वेश्चन आ रहे हैं, हाउ कैन यू फाइट द कंडीशन? कंसेप्ट इज टेम्परेचर इन्वर्जन मत होने दो, देयर विल बी नो पोल्यूशन इन दिल्ली. सो वन ऑफ द कंडीशन इज कोल्ड ग्राउंड सरफेस. अब आस्क योरसेल्फ, कैन यू फाइट दिस कंडीशन? नो, you cannot fight this condition. Winters में the ground surface will be cold only. We do not have power कि नीचे से हम burner चला देंगे and the so that is not possible. Second, long, cold, winter nights. Now ask yourself why this condition? Because if the nights are not longer and the days are longer, days में insolation will be more and heating will be more. Night में the heat has to be lost. What is winter? Long nights, short days. So the heating during the daytime is less as compared to the heat lost during the night time. Getting it? इसीलिए the over the coming days, अब बारिश भी हो गई है. Let the atmospheric water vapor go and there will be very dense fog which will come to Delhi. But thankfully, hopefully, not thankfully, hopefully, it will be without pollution. क्योंकि जितना भी pollution है, it has been reduced by the daily rainfall. Third, now if there is large amount of water vapor, what will happen? Temperature inversion होगा या नहीं होगा? Temperature inversion is caused due to the lost when the ground loses the heat. But if there is too much of humidity, water vapor थोड़ा बहुत तो होगा. I am talking about humidity. Humidity is the measurement of water vapor. If there is large amount of humidity, water vapor is a greenhouse gas. It will trap the heat and it will not allow the heat to be radiated to the surroundings. So third condition, ये सारा winters याद रखो, you get an answer. हाँ, 2 किलोमीटर from the ground. विंटर्स में ड्राई एयर है. कल ही मैंने एग्जांपल दिया था, वी आर यूजिंग कोल्ड क्रीम. ऐड देखना आजकल कोल्ड क्रीम, मॉइस्चराइजर एंड क्रैक क्रीम की ऐड आएगी, जो बिकॉज एडिया भी फटेगी, होठ भी फटेंगे एंड स्किन भी फटेगी. दैट इज एब्सेंस ऑफ मॉइस्चर. दैट इज द थर्ड कंडीशन, प्रेजेंस ऑफ ड्राई एयर नियर द ग्राउंड. लास्ट, clouds in the sky or cloudless and clear skies? Because if there is clouds in the sky, what they will do? They will radiate the heat back. They will not allow the heat to escape. insolation वैसे भी कम है because the sun is in the southern hemisphere. But if the sky is cloudy, the heat which is being lost during the night time, it will be trapped by the cloud. So your simple example, जब भी cloudy है sky, तो you will feel गर्मी बहुत ज़्यादा है, humidity बहुत ज़्यादा है. That is what cloudless and clear skies. Cloudless and clear skies. अब first two conditions we cannot fight, but this condition, if there is a smog in Delhi, what does theory says? Do artificial rainfall. अगर artificial rainfall नहीं हुआ तो rainfall होते ही smog कम हो गया. Getting it? Because presence, it does not require water vapor, it requires absence of water vapor. Whenever there is rain, all these pollutants will fall down with the rain and they will go in the drain there. Cloudless and clear skies. Do cloud seeding. ठीक है? Cloud seeding. Cloud seeding means cloud का formation करो, so that by spraying the aerosols in the atmosphere. And last condition, which is temperature inversion will occur when there is a separation of warm and cold layer. Now imagine if there are strong winds. Will there be temperature inversion or will there be mixing up of warm and cold air? Mixing of warm and cold air. So temperature inversion निकाल ही देगा, वही क्या है ना. So these are the 5 conditions which are necessary for temperature inversion. Very logical. क्या? अगर फॉग को फाइट करना है तो, फॉग को नहीं फाइट करना है, स्मॉग को फाइट करना है तो रेनफॉल के लिए. तो क्या करना चाहिए था दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट ने, मतलब सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने, देयर वाज सो मच पोल्यूशन, दे शुड हैव डन आर्टिफिशियल रेनफॉल. पिछले साल भी ये हुआ, आर्टिफिशियल रेनफॉल किया नहीं. सो दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट, बिकॉज सी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट डज नॉट हैव दैट मच रिसोर्सेस, एटलीस्ट इफ इट इज वेन दिल्ली, आधा स्टेट है, it does not have much power. So what did Kejriwal do? Kejriwal hired all the tankers or pani chhed. So he had asked Modi to do artificial rainfall, but artificial rainfall kiya nahi, so he took all the tankers and pani chhed dala raste pe, so that the dust will settle down, so that there will be less smog, so that din mein the heat is trapped. Getting it? Why we are doing this? What China does, I told you yesterday, China has constructed artificial towers, 40 मंजिल की बिल्डिंग है, which has only fans, and if there is a smog, they will switch on the fan, artificial winds, because to remove the temperature inversion there should be no movement of air or very less movement of air. What does Philippines do? Philippines have constructed buildings which are concave in shape. This is a building which is totally having glass face and it is concave in shape. इस building के आगे there is a pond and pond के नीचे there are solar power panels. So when the sun rays is coming, it is being directed directly on the solar power panels. इससे solar energy also they construct, plus heating से there is evaporation, and then there, whenever the wind blows, there is moisture in the city and thus there is removal of smog. दो फायदे, एक तो solar power also they are generating, plus they are fighting pollution. Otherwise China and Philippines में condition ऐसा था that people could not step out. Beijing was the most polluted city in the world. Now it is the Delhi. Delhi is the most polluted city in the world. Beijing fought pollution by constructing this techniques. यही तो पूछा था इस साल के ऐसे में. One of the topic you have to write is this: alternative technologies to fight climate change and pollution. अब what is in the news? There is a startup जिसने दिया है दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट को concept of towers. बट उसका कहना है कि इट कैन क्लियर द 75,000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर का एरिया which is going to which is going to remove the air, and it is much more cheaper than the China ka towers. Have you read that news?
सर दैट वायु वाला ना
Not Vayu. Vayu is something different. I am talking about the startup का जो पिछले हफ्ते जो स्टार्टअप ने दिया था 2 करोड़ रुपीस का एक टावर है. They are asking government of India to invest in these towers. These are the cheapest air purifiers. एक new technology है, and it is required for Delhi. It is done by Delhi based businessman, and it has a WTO का TRIPS में, that is it has an intellectual property right also. So we will have to think in this lines. एक तो artificial rainfall करो या फिर construct like this. Last to last year, Harvard University had instructed central government कि जो भी entry points है दिल्ली के 4 entry points है different, वहाँ पे बड़े बड़े fans लगाओ. So whenever there is a temperature inversion in ये pollution वाला concept, just switch on the fan. So there is a wind and यहाँ से pollution हट जाएगा साइड वाले रीजन में obviously, but Delhi will be safe. At least you have to show that Delhi is safe because it is capital. So
यहाँ पे जब इवैपोरेशन हो रहा है तो वहाँ पे गर्मी नहीं होती फिर
कहाँ पे?
जो फिलीपींस का आपने बताया.
So गर्मी होनी चाहिए. You just have to remove the temperature inversion. To fight smog, what you have to do? You have to remove temperature inversion. So ये जो जितने conditions है इनको आपको टेक्नोलॉजी यूज करके रिमूव करना है. देन ओनली यू कैन फाइट पोल्यूशन. हाँ, यही तो कंसेप्ट है टेम्परेचर इन्वर्जन. सी द डाउट इज anyone has this doubt, his doubt is why there is warm air above when there should be cold air above, because this is temperature inversion. In the normal case there would have been a cold air above. Are you getting this? Why is this warm air above? यही तो है conditions क्यों है warm air. सरफेस के पास कोल्ड है, ऊपर की एयर वार्म है, क्योंकि इसी को तो हम कहेंगे टेम्परेचर इन्वर्जन. अगर ये एयर कोल्ड होती तो फिर नॉर्मल कंडीशन ही होता, फिर हम टेम्परेचर इन्वर्जन पढ़ते ही नहीं. Sun is in the southern hemisphere. Sun is in the southern hemisphere. Why is this warm above? You are asking. Because नीचे की air is colder. Air is a bad conductor of heat. अगर air had been good conductor of heat, तो पूरी air का temperature ये होता. Air is a bad conductor. इसीलिए, got it? That is his. Have you anyone has this doubt कि ये heat transfer क्यों नहीं हुआ? ऊपर की warm air, why does not it warms the air below? Because air is a bad conductor of heat. Air cannot transfer the heat from warm to cold. Had air been the good conductor of heat, तो ये fine. So what is the importance of temperature inversion? एक importance हमने देखा is smog. दूसरा importance of temperature inversion. Understand? ये temperature inversion का है. If this is any non-living object, ये stone हो सकता है, ये car हो सकती है, ये garden के benches हो सकते हैं, कुछ भी है. So during the night time, when the air becomes very very cold, water vapor, the stone will become more colder, solid. So water vapor which is in contact with the stone, which comes in the contact with the stone, after cooling it will get converted into liquid, and you will call this as dew, os in Hindi. And sometimes it becomes so cold that water vapor is directly converted to solid, that is ice particle, when it comes in contact, and you will call this as frost. So temperature inversion is responsible for three things: fog, dew and frost. ये तीनों winter phenomena है. Clouds, rain, ये है summer phenomena. Mist. Mist is light fog, nothing else. 97%. ये जैसे रेनफॉल हुआ वैसे कहीं से भी विंड आएगी, इफ इट इज ब्रिंगिंग द मॉइस्ट एयर, वाटर वेपर कंटेंट विल इंक्रीज. एनी डाउट्स इन टेम्परेचर इन्वर्जन?
जो फ्रॉस्ट होता है वो स्नोफॉल से
नो नो नो. फ्रॉस्ट इज जिसको कहेंगे पाला इन हिंदी. इफ यू आर नॉट हिंदी, सो महाराष्ट्र में फ्रॉस्ट नहीं होता, सो डोंट वरी अबाउट दैट. Frost is present only in the northern India, that is during the extreme winters. You keep the glass outside, Rajendra Nagar mein. दिन में in the as you go early in the morning, you will see ice particles जमे हुए on that grass or on anything. That is frost. And if there is liquid, it is dew. Snowfall is different. उससे ज़्यादा वो तो होगा ही, फ्रॉस्ट होगा ही नहीं दिल्ली में आजकल. सो फाइन विद दिस. सो टेक डाउन दिस थिंग्स. फ्रॉस्ट का डेफिनेशन मैं दे दूंगा, वो रट लेना. विल राइट दैट वेयर इट फॉर्म्स. नॉन एडवेक्शनल टेम्परेचर इन्वर्जन. नॉन एडवेक्शनल टेम्परेचर इन्वर्जन is also known as ground inversion. Is also known as ground inversion or radiation inversion. Why it is known as non-advectional? Because there is no movement of wind. ये कुछ नहीं, ये last condition भी है. No movement of wind. Non-advectional inversion is common in the permafrost. What do you mean by permafrost? Permafrost means completely covered by ice. Permafrost. Example, tundra. Example, Antarctic. Example, Arctic. In the permafrost region, covered by ice throughout the year. Permafrost region. Throughout the year. While it occurs only during the winters. In middle and subtropical latitudes. In the middle and subtropical latitudes. Middle latitudes मतलब 35 to 65. Subtropical मतलब 10 to 35. 0 to 10 degree latitude, equator. Temperature inversion is absent in the equatorial regions. कौन सा टेम्परेचर इन्वर्जन? दिस वन, नॉन एडवेक्शनल. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. During winters, the ground surface becomes extremely cold. And therefore, air which comes in contact with the cold ground surface becomes cold. Cold ground surface also cools. Air which comes in contact with cold ground surface also cools, while the upper air remains comparatively warmer. upper air remains comparatively warmer. Upper air remains comparatively warmer. Full stop. Why? लिखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, but दिमाग में रखना, air is a bad conductor of heat. वही मैं लिखाऊंगा, ये तो सिर्फ मैंने ये लिखा है, ये लिखना नहीं है. Next, following conditions are necessary. Following conditions are necessary. First, cold ground surface. जो बोर्ड पे लिखा है वही लिखो. Cold ground surface. सारे मत लिखना, इसमें थोड़ा changes है. Cold ground surface. Second, long cold winter nights. Second is the long cold winter nights. Full stop. इसी point में this is necessary because during the night ground will lose more heat through radiation. Third, presence of dry air near the ground. Why? Bracket में लिखना, air is a moist air is a or water vapor is a greenhouse gas. It will trap the heat. अगर air moisture है, that means that it has water vapor, and water vapor is a greenhouse gas. It will trap the heat. Next point, cloudless and clear skies. Because clouds if present will reflect the heat back to the earth. And last, absence or very less movement of air. Next point. ये मैं डिक्टेट नहीं कराऊंगा, जस्ट रिमेंबर दिस. देयरफॉर विंटर्स, ये हम सिग्निफिकेंस में सेपरेटली लिखेंगे. हैव व्हाट? फॉग, ड्यू एंड फ्रॉस्ट. फॉग, ड्यू एंड फ्रॉस्ट. विंटर्स में फॉग, ड्यू एंड फ्रॉस्ट. स्मॉग, क्योंकि ये किसी भी टेम्परेचर इन्वर्जन में होगा. We'll come to Delhi pollution after we do this entire topic. Advectional inversion means there is movement of air. Advectional inversion means there is movement of air. इसमें the most important is valley inversion. Now suppose these are the two mountains and this is a valley in the mountainous region. During the night time, during the daytime, which part of the mountain will receive more insolation? Upper slopes या lower slopes? Valley का part. Obviously it will be upper parts. नीचे तो it will be more or less colder during the daytime. Why it will be colder? Because vegetation bhi hai. There are numerous things. There is a shade also and it is narrow. But during the night time, the ground will start losing the heat, whether it is the upper slope or the lower slope. And ऊपर water vapor कम है, density of the gases is less, carbon dioxide की quantity भी थोड़ी बहुत कम है, because of the density is less. The upper slope will lose the heat quickly to the surrounding region. While lower slopes, this will all lose the heat to the surrounding regions. While the lower slopes are losing the heat, but it is trapped by the stones, and thus the heat is reflected back. जो buildings करता है in the cities, buildings will trap the heat. Concrete, stones will trap the heat, and it is reflected back. So as a result of this, can I say this will be warm and this will be comparatively colder? Getting it? Everyone? ऊपर का part is colder, नीचे का part will remain warm. Cold मतलब high pressure or low pressure? High pressure, and warm means low pressure in climate. याद रखना ये. What is the law of wind? Wind always flows from high pressure to low pressure. Or the cold air is denser and therefore it is attracted by the gravity and it will start moving down the slope. As it starts moving down the slope, it will occupy the valley sides or the valley bottom. And what it will do to the warm air? It will push the warm air upwards. And this warm air, after going upwards, it will settle above. Initial condition क्या था? Cold air ऊपर थी, warm air नीचे थी. But what is the final condition? There is a cold air below and warm air above. क्यों? Due to the movement of air. इसलिए it is advectional inversion. So as a result of this, fogs will be present at this point, जहाँ पे temperature inversion. Temperature inversion easily visible है. किसी भी tall building में जाना दिल्ली में, and you will see a layer of fog. That is the layer of warm air and the cold air, differentiation layer of. Generally temperature inversion maximum 1 or 2 kilometers तक होता है. उसके बाद the condition again becomes normal. Cities में during the summer season, if you go at the tall buildings, you will see धूल होता है ऊपर surrounding the city. We call that as haze. That is the layer of temperature inversion. Because temperature inversion is common in the cities even during the summer season. That is what is known as an urban heat island effect. यहाँ की urban regions में the heat is so greater, the air will start rising upwards and therefore surrounding air will come and occupy the cities. Urban canyon effect. Canyon मतलब तोफ. Cities में क्या है? Tall buildings are canyons. Wind will come and it will be forced to rise up suddenly. That is what is known as canyon effect. So we'll do that when we do the urban heat island environment. But have you understood this concept? So there is an cold air below, warm air above. Now what is इसका practical implication? इसका practical implication is whenever you go for next time to the hill stations, you will see the best hotels or the costliest hotels are always located on the top. एक तो व्यू भी अच्छा मिलता है, प्लस रात में ठंडी नहीं होती. If you take the hotel at the bottom, it will be extremely cold in the night, and plus you will not see anything other than fog. Why? Because every night there is going to be a temperature inversion. Second, in the European nations, even in India, in the temperate latitudes, valley floors are avoided for human settlement. People will generally do terrace farming or terracing and they will settle along the sides. घर कभी भी bottom में नहीं होगा valley के, because there is going to be a temperature inversion. हमेशा it will be on the sides of a mountain. Will always settle on the sides of a mountain. They will not go and settle in the valley. Winters, summers, rainy season में valley में floods भी आएंगे, and during the winter season there will be temperature inversion. Agriculture is also not done on the valley floors. because in the mountainous region the most important crops are flowers or fruits, horticulture, and horticulture is extremely sensitive to changes of the temperature, and therefore you should know valley floors are avoided for human settlement as well as for the agricultural activities. It is always done on the sides. See, a simple phenomena, it changes the economics of everything. Valley ka sides are always taken up, not always the valley floors. So this is one example of an valley inversion. So can I dictate? Valley inversion. It occurs when? It occurs during the night time. It occurs during the night time because the upper slopes of a mountain, because the upper slopes of a mountain will lose the heat quickly, will lose the heat quickly as compared to the valleys, as compared to the valley. And hence the air on the upper slopes becomes cold. Hence the air in the upper slopes becomes colder, comma, full stop. Cold air being denser, cold air being denser, cold air being denser, it is pulled due to gravity. It is pulled due to gravity. And occupies the valley floors, and occupies the valley floors, causing temperature inversion, causing temperature inversion, causing temperature inversion, comma, fogs, fog, comma, dew and frost, fog, dew and frost. Therefore, to avoid frost bite, to avoid frost bite, valley floors are avoided for human settlement. Valley floors are avoided for human settlement and agricultural activities. Human settlement and agricultural activities. And agricultural activities. Is dew good for us? Dew मतलब अभी ठंडियों में you will see, सुबह सुबह अगर आपको जाने की आदत है गार्डन्स में वो सब, या कार के ऊपर you will see पानी के बूंदे हैं, there are water droplets, that is dew. Instead of water droplets, if your car gets covered with layer of ice, not snow, there is difference between, I told you, ice and snow. If it gets covered with the layer of ice, it is frost. So is dew good for us? Yes, dew is good because during the winter season it will give the much needed moisture to the soil, to the crops. Is frost good? No, not at all. पानी आपके ऊपर है, imagine you are a plant, पानी आपके ऊपर गिर रहा है, it is good for you. अब किसी ने आपके ऊपर बर्फ डाल दिया, so it is bad. It will cause frost bite. Getting this? So therefore it will destroy. Frost bite. You keep anything in the freezer, any fruit, and 1 घंटे में निकालो, fruit पूरा black हो जाएगा. That is frost bite. So frost is not at all beneficial for anyone. Dew is beneficial, and in the desert regions, जो अटाकामा वो सब desert है, this is some extra information क्योंकि ये मैं किसी theory के साथ नहीं दे सकता. याद रखना, there are the tribes which are known as San or Bushmen of Kalahari Desert. The driest desert in the world, Atacama. Life is not possible. The second driest desert, मतलब natural conditions में life is not possible. Second driest desert in the world, Kalahari, Africa. And वहाँ पे there is a San or Bushmen. These are the hunting and food gathering tribes shown in many of the movies. If they have shown you the people, black people hunting with bows and arrows, that are the San Bushmen people. This San and Bushman people are living in the most toughest conditions for life, because the only source of the water they have is the morning dew drops. They have to collect in ostrich का egg. मतलब पहले ostrich से egg चुराओ and then collect the morning dew drops, and that is their entire day's supply of water in the temperature of 55-56 degrees Celsius. Imagine 55-56 degrees Celsius में how many liters of water will you drink? And they have to collect only the dew drops in the morning. So it is good. Snow is granular, ice is crystalline. मैं बाद में बताऊंगा. Snow और ice का difference. Frost, it is injurious to crops. These are tidbits only for prelims. You have drunk this coffee. मोचा जो आज बोलते हो उसको. What is mocha coffee? So mocha coffee is the special kind of coffee that is grown only in Yemen. Frost is injurious to all the crops in the world except for the mocha coffee which is grown in Yemen. Why? Yemen is already desert. Coffee requires moisture, so that the frost is giving the much needed moisture. But in our India, the idea of mocha coffee is उसके ऊपर क्रीम डालो and एक स्माइली बनाओ. That is our mocha coffee. That is not the original mocha coffee. It has to come from Yemen. जैसे Darjeeling tea has to come from Darjeeling. So that is the tidbits. The second kind of advectional inversion is due to the mixing up of warm and cold ocean currents. Warm current जिसका temperature is 35-36 degrees Celsius. Warm current के ऊपर, ocean current के ऊपर की air is warmer. Cold ocean current which is coming from frozen icebergs है उसमें. What is the individual size of an iceberg? Iceberg is very very large. Remember, it is extremely large. And iceberg जितना दिखता है, only one part is visible, बाकी 9 parts are below the water. Law of flotation. Icebergs are so large that some of the icebergs are equivalent to the size of peninsular India. Iceberg has melted, ये जो news में आता है इसका मतलब ये नहीं ice cube has melted. It is big area which can be equivalent to the size of any country. and such large icebergs are brought by cold currents. I just want you to imagine how much powerful these cold currents are when they can carry the icebergs with them. And iceberg के ऊपर का air is obviously below the sub freezing point. So whenever there is a, we had just seen, there is a, the warm and cold ocean currents will mix. So warm air and the cold air will mix. Which air is lighter, warm air or colder air? Warm air. So warm air will go up and the cold air will settle down, causing what? Temperature inversion. Causing temperature inversion. So this is how the temperature inversion is caused due to the mixing of cold currents. And इसीलिए the most densest fogs in the world are found in this region where there is a mixing up of warm and cold ocean currents. And this region is known for sea accidents. You see the same thing has been shown in Titanic. There is fog, they cannot see the iceberg, and therefore iceberg crushed through the entire ship. So you can take down the most densest fog in the world, the most dense fog in the world, most dense fogs in the world are caused in the regions of mixing of cold and warm ocean currents. Mixing of cold and warm ocean currents. Cold and warm ocean currents. Example, Newfoundland or Grand Banks region. Which country? Canada, North America. Due to mixing up of cold, Labrador. ये सब हम बाद में Labrador current और सब करेंगे, अभी ये सिर्फ याद रखना, cold Labrador current and warm Gulf Stream. Cold Labrador current and the warm Gulf Stream. This is the example of the area. This is the name of the area और कौन से दो current mix हो रहे हैं? Cold current is Labrador and warm current is the Gulf Stream. So it is this region, which is also the richest fishing region in the world. And इसी region पे there has been accident of Titanic. So the cold current is Labrador and the warm current is Gulf Stream. We'll come to that while doing the smog. पहले fogs. Fine with this? सब में बेसिक मैकेनिज्म यही है, वार्म एंड कोल्ड एयर आएगी, कोल्ड एयर नीचे आएगी एंड वार्म एयर को ऊपर फेंक देगी. सिर्फ क्या चेंज हो रहा है? द एजेंट्स आर चेंजिंग. पहले इसमें एजेंट इज माउंटेन एंड वैली, सेकंड इसमें एजेंट इज वार्म एंड कोल्ड ओशन करंट्स, थर्ड इसमें एजेंट इज फ्रंट्स. Don't write all this in the exam. Exam may just end your answer here. These are extra things because question अगर 20 marks के लिए भी 200 words के लिए भी आता है, so half of the answer will be regarding radiation inversion. The other half of the other 30% of your answer will be regarding advectional inversion, and remaining 20% of the answer, even if it is not asked, has to be regarding importance of temperature inversion, because fog, smog are becoming very important processes in the world. So you have to write that in the answer. Sea smoke, these all are the tidbits for prelims. कि आता है what are the examples of advectional inversion, उसमें दिया है due to ocean currents, due to wind, radiation inversion and the frontal smog. So which is not, radiation inversion is not. बाकी का answer will be there. Getting it? So sea smoke क्या है? Suppose this is a land and this is a water body. थोड़ा अलग है ये concept, but it has been taken in geography as a part of temperature inversion. वैसे ये part नहीं है temperature inversion का, but you should know this concept for only for prelims. Now this water is warmer, and because this water is warmer, evaporation हो रहा है from water. This water is warm water, and there is evaporation that is occurring. But sometimes during the winter season especially, which will become more colder, water or land? Land will become more colder. And if the wind is coming from the land towards the water body, water में से evaporation हो रहा है, and when the cold wind comes, the cold wind will come in the contact with water vapor, and it will convert the water vapor into water droplets. And जैसे it will get converted into water droplets, हमें ऐसे लगेगा as if the smoke is coming out from water, and therefore that phenomena is known as sea smoke. It is not associated with temperature inversion. It is just one phenomena of fogs, sea smoke. Same thing is happening if you are taking a bath or if you are having hot water. Room का temperature is relatively colder, but पानी का temperature is warmer. So evaporation हो रहा है, but because the room का temperature is colder, condensation हो रहा है, and therefore ऐसे लगता है पानी में से smoke is coming out, steam is coming out. The same thing is going to happen with your body also in the coming months. That is, when you speak, inside it is warmer, but बाहर का temperature will be colder. So when we speak, water vapor is also given out, right? अंदर पानी है, 70 लीटर पानी है अंदर. So the water vapor is also given out, and when this water vapor is given out, it will condense, और हमें ऐसे लगेगा धुआं निकल रहा है winters में. ये सब mechanism वही है, condensation, the sea smoke. So you can take down. This is a special type of fog. This is a special type of fog which looks similar to a smoke coming out from sea water. It occurs when seawater. It occurs when a cold wind moves over warm ocean surfaces. Cold wind moves over warm ocean surfaces, causing condensation of water vapor. Fine with this? Significance of temperature inversion मतलब importance. See, significance can be both positive negative. Generally we feel कि significance मतलब सिर्फ अच्छी बातें लिखनी है, ऐसा नहीं है. Daud also is significant for India. Daud is not going to cause any positive thing for India, but he is a significant personality. So significance में temperature inversion में कोई positive points नहीं है. Temperature inversion is always associated with negative things, except if it is due. One of the first important negative thing of the temperature inversion is fogs. Why fogs are negative? सबसे पहले reduce visibility. And therefore hinder navigation. They cause accidents. सारे एक्सीडेंट्स, ऐसा नहीं सिर्फ शिप, रोड, रेलवे, वाटरवेज, एयरवेज. दिल्ली में से बहुत सारी फ्लाइट्स आप देखोगे दिसंबर में कैंसिल होना शुरू हो जाएगी बिकॉज दे कैन नॉट टेक ऑफ और लैंड. ट्रेन्स विल बी कैंसल्ड because as soon as 22nd December will occur, it will be winter solstice. That is when the winters will become very severe in India in the month of December. That is when the ground surface will become very cold and the fogs will be the most dense. Actually ये fog होना ही नहीं चाहिए था. This is nothing but smog. So it is associated with pollution. It is associated with pollution. How? Because fog mixes with smoke. Fog mixes with smoke to form a toxic or poisonous mixture of gases, to form toxic or poisonous mixture of gases, comma, particulate matter, pollutants, dust particles, known as smog. अब ideally fog should be present during the daytime or night time? Morning या evening में, जैसे when the ground will become colder. वैसे during the day and during the afternoon fogs होना चाहिए कि नहीं? So if the fogs are not there, will there be smog? No, smog should not be present during the daytime. Getting this? Because fog has to mix. जो particulate matter है, they get suspended in the water droplets. So when we do the fogs, traditionally there are two types of smogs. So there are two types of smog. One is the classical smog, or just smog. Is it visible behind? Classical smog or smog. Now this classical smog or smog generally occurs or is densest, most dense during early morning. But disappears during day as water droplets are evaporated by sun, as the water droplets are evaporated by the sun. Fine, चला जाता है. पुराने, you can ask your parents, you can ask your grandparents, they will say कि ठीक है दिल्ली में pollution होता था but only during the early morning या during the late night, but कोहरा निकल जाता था during the daytime. So that is what is the classical smog. Remember, classical smog is a primary pollutant. Now, what do you mean by primary pollutant? You will first understand what is secondary pollutant later on. Why it is caused? It is caused by industrial pollution. It is caused by industrial pollution, where sulfur dioxide is major pollutant. Sulfur dioxide is the major pollutant. SO2 is the major pollutant. SO2 is given out by industries. Why? Because sulfur dioxide is present in coal, and coal burning gives out sulfur. ये special problem है Indian coal का, because Indian coal is rich in sulfur, as we have bituminous variety, we do not have anthracite. So इसलिए जैसे ही pollution बढ़ा, what did Supreme Court ask the Delhi government to do? To close down the Badarpur thermal power plant. Can you understand why? Because they were trying to control the classical smog. What are the impacts? You already know the impacts. 3-4 दिन पहले क्या हुआ था? Irritation of eyes, respiratory issues or problems, especially asthma. Asthma is the most common problem in Delhi now. If children are growing up in Delhi, they will suffer from, they have the chances they will suffer from asthma. Children, if they are playing in Delhi, they will suffer from asthma. In other parts of the world, to cure from asthma, children are asked to play, because air is clean. यहाँ पे children are stopped from playing outside because they can have asthma. See, this has become a serious issue now. And cardiac issues, cardiac problems, heart attack, etc. आजकल ये normal problem हो गया है. Why? Because we have conditioned ourselves कि हमारे लिए heart attack normal हो गया है, cancer issue बन गया है. See how we are going. 7th mass extinction हम खुद का ही करेंगे. That is because of these issues. See, the word is not smog, photochemical smog. Photo matlab sunlight. Chemical means chemical reaction, and smog you already know. So this is a smog which, unlike other fog or smog, will occur during the daytime, which we have seen in Delhi right now. Generally, बाकी के parts of the world में pollution है, it occurs during early morning or night. People just have to change their schedule. Instead of morning walk, they have to go for evening walk, or they have to stop walking. They don't go out in the outside during the early mornings. But जैसे ही sun becomes stronger, the fog disappears or weakens, and they can continue their daily life. But जहाँ पे photochemical smog है, especially Asia, not just this Delhi, entire North India, अब तो इस साल मुंबई में भी, and that has become a serious issue. Why it has become a serious issue? Because in spite of land and sea breeze, this is the first year that Mumbai has seen smog, photochemical smog. नहीं होना चाहिए technically वहाँ. And photochemical smog will occur during the daytime. Jitna stronger the sunlight, utna stronger will be the photochemical smog. And this is the time when you all are outside working on the streets. So you are more exposing yourself. And see iska implications. So what is this photochemical smog? It is a secondary pollutant. Can I rub this part? It is a secondary pollutant. It occurs during the daytime. I am telling you that. It occurs during the daytime. This is caused due to industrial pollution, but this is caused due to मतलब प्राइमरी सोर्स, वैसे तो इंडस्ट्रीज भी करेंगे, बट द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट सोर्स फॉर दिस इज द vehicular pollution. This is generally caused due to vehicles. Why? Because vehicles will give out nitrous oxides. Vehicles will give out nitrous oxides. यहाँ पे क्या है? Sulfur oxides, sulfur dioxides और any of the sulfur oxides. यहाँ पे nitrous oxides. कौन सी गाड़ियाँ ज़्यादा देती हैं nitrous oxides? पेट्रोल और डीजल? डीजल. Nitrous oxides plus unburnt diesel, unburnt petrol, black carbon, धुआं, what you will call that as volatile organic compounds. Volatile organic compounds, and this will react in the presence of sunlight. जितना ज़्यादा sunlight उतना stronger is the reaction. So इसलिए the name is photochemical, because there is a chemical reaction that is occurring. This will react in the presence of daytime or sunlight, and original nitrous oxides and volatile organic compounds will be converted into ozone. Ozone is a very good gas in the stratosphere. It is equally bad gas in the troposphere. Plus different types of nitrates. Different types of nitrates, nitrous oxides into nitrates. That is what we call it as a span. Different types of nitrates. ये generally gases हमारे phenyl vinyl में use होता है. Not in the air. This should be present in phenyl for killing germs, not in the air. Pan is peroxyacetyl nitrates. Plus different kinds of aldehydes. And this combined toxic mix जिसमें ozone dominates, ये जो है, this is what is known as photochemical smog. सबसे कॉमन अल्डिहाइड जो दिल्ली में बनता है इन नेचुरली इज क्लोरोफॉर्म. क्लोरोफॉर्म का यूज यू नो थ्रू हिंदी मूवीज. किडनैपिंग. इट शुड नॉट बी नेचुरली प्रेजेंट इन द एयर, बट इट इज नेचुरली प्रेजेंट इन द एयर. Ozone should not be naturally present because ozone will displace the oxygen from the blood and it will take its place. Our body cannot synthesize ozone. It can use only oxygen. So you feel tired. So understanding closing of Badarpur power plant and odd even scheme. Getting this? Why odd even scheme and why power closing of industries? Because this is the common, and which is going to increase even after closing down of industries. And what was the yesterday's report of Center of Greenpeace and Center of Science and Environment? Is stubble burning has contributed only 20% of pollution to Delhi. बाकी का is caused due to Delhi का vehicles itself and construction activity which is going on in Delhi. And burning of waste. What is the impact? जो हमने अभी लिखा, lung issues, second, irritation of eyes, third, cardiac issues. ये तो कॉमन है दोनों में. यहाँ से है how it differentiates. It is superior, so issues have to be superior. Mental retardation, especially in the infants. Especially in infants. Why? They are not getting oxygen, they are not getting proper blood, and therefore, and what about us in adults? In adults, attention deficit disorders. So, अगर आपका ध्यान पढ़ाई में नहीं लग रहा है तो you can blame, you can tell your parents that there is too much of smog in Delhi. In adults. Fifth, this is also a very serious issue. It destroys chlorophyll in plants. Go and see many plants in Delhi, you will find yellow spots, photochemical smog. Green spots, chlorophyll. It destroys the chlorophyll and therefore reduces photosynthesis. Therefore reduces photosynthesis. Mutations हो रहे plants में, they are changing, there is the change in the mutations of the plants. And as a result, plants which should be carbon sink, that is they should remove the oxygen. Now because of lack of photosynthesis, they should remove the carbon dioxide. But due to the lack of photosynthesis, they are doing now more respiration. What is the process of respiration? Giving out oxygen. CO2. Therefore, plants are increasingly becoming or turning into carbon source. So you should know this technical language in environment and ecology. Concept बहुत simple है. The questions in prelims are technical bit. Carbon source means they are giving out carbon dioxide rather than carbon sink. Rather than carbon sink. Carbon sink means they will remove the carbon dioxide. Also, reduces food production. Agriculture crops में तो food production reduce होगा. It will also reduce the food production. क्या? Plants are increasingly turning into carbon source rather than carbon sink. इसका मतलब क्या है? क्या दे रहे? सरफेस मतलब क्या? What do you mean by source? Carbon source मतलब क्या? It gives out carbon dioxide. What is the work of the plants or terrestrial biome? To remove the carbon dioxide. So because of the absence, and how does the plants remove the carbon dioxide? Through photosynthesis. What is required for photosynthesis? Chlorophyll. So now the destruction of chlorophyll, so the photosynthetic ability has reduced. And because the photosynthetic ability has reduced, instead of removing the carbon dioxide, removal of carbon dioxide is technically known as carbon sink. They are now giving more carbon dioxide to the atmosphere, and therefore we are saying it is carbon source. ये technical words है. They are not normal words. Carbon sink matlab anything that removes carbon dioxide. Carbon source means anything that gives carbon dioxide. इतना याद रखना. So waste. So for example, I can say rice fields are methane source because they give out methane. Tropical evergreen forest or any forest is natural carbon sink. It removes the carbon dioxide. 52 million gigatons, 52 million gigatons of carbon dioxide is removed by tropical evergreen forest alone every year in the world. Remember, that is how powerful the carbon sink are. Congo ka rainforest gives sufficient amount of moisture back, evapotranspiration, which can give in 3 months, which can give 2 years of rainfall in India non-stop. Itna zyada moisture they give back to the atmosphere. What we are doing? We are destroying these forests. So obviously there will be more erratic monsoon. There will be more droughts. There will be more heat waves. They are carcinogen. What do you mean by carcinogen? They can cause cancer. So ये सब classical smog का problem नहीं है. This is the problem of photochemical smog. Photochemical smog totally destroys. आयरन को रस्ट हो सब वो नेचुरल प्रोसेस है. ये डिस्ट्रॉय करता है इवन प्लास्टिक एंड रबर. सो व्हेन द प्लास्टिक एंड रबर इज डिस्ट्रॉयड, पॉलीमर्स है, so the toxic gases which are present in the plastic and rubber, they will be released in the surrounding atmosphere. See, whatever the companies claim, what is this? Plastic. What is this? A byproduct of petroleum industry, polymer. What is this? A chemical, green color, right? चाहे उसके ऊपर लिखेंगे BPA free, XYZ free, food grade, etc. Long run में it is not safe. Why? We are in a tropical country. Remember, जो older traditions था, they were for a reason. Why only steel or copper? Why only glass? Plastics are good in the temperate region because वहाँ पे heating नहीं होगा. But in the tropical regions like us, there is heating. And when there is heating, there is a mixing of all the chemicals in the water. We will call that effect as leaching. And all that is entering in our body. And plastic cannot be removed by the body. Ultimately, अंदर से body will decompose. Decompose means there will be changes, mutation, there will be diseases, there will be cancer. So 23% increase in the rate of cancers in India is accounted to plastics alone, especially tiffin and disposable plastic. बिस्लेरी, हमें आदत है बिस्लेरी की बॉटल फ्रिज में रखने की, गाड़ी में रखने की 3-4 दिन. It should be thrown after the use. We have the habit of eating hot curry, hot food. We are not temperate regions कि फॉइल हो या प्लास्टिक हो, कोल्ड सैलड खा सकते हैं अनकुक्ड. वी रिक्वायर कुक्ड फूड, वो भी गरम. जितना गरम उतना ज़्यादा केमिकल रिएक्शन एंड उतना ज़्यादा. सो दैट इज़ फूड ग्रेड प्लास्टिक. द रियलिटी इज़ आफ्टर 25 years of research अभी कंक्लूजन आया है the food grade plastic made from polyethylene is unsafe and therefore we should go to Tupperware. 10 साल बाद रिसर्च आएगा, जब नया कुछ आएगा, कंपनीज नया कुछ इन्वेंट करेंगे और उनको सेल करना है, तो इट Tupperware is also unsafe. So go to some XYZ. So best is steel, best is glass. So how to fight smog or how to fight the plastic pollution? स्मॉग दो टाइप के. सिर्फ स्मॉग पूछा तो प्राइमरी पोल्यूटेंट. फोटोकेमिकल स्मॉग पूछा तो हमने केमिकल रिएक्शन लिखा है. प्राइमरी पोल्यूटेंट है नाइट्रस ऑक्साइड एंड वोलाटाइल ऑर्गेनिक कंपाउंड्स. वो होता ही नहीं पोल्यूशन में, वो मिक्स होके बन जाता है ओजोन. आजकल जो आर्टिकल्स आ रहे हैं न्यूज़पेपर में, व्हेन आवर क्लासेस स्टार्टेड, आजकल तो बंद हो गए. ट्रोपोस्फेरिक ओजोन, ट्रोपोस्फेरिक ओजोन, ओजोन ऑन द ट्रोपोस्फियर. क्या है? नथिंग बट द अदर नेम ऑफ फोटोकेमिकल स्मॉग. इट इज नथिंग बट ट्रोपोस्फेरिक ओजोन. ओजोन डू द कार्स रिलीज? नो, दे रिलीज नाइट्रस ऑक्साइड. बट क्या बन जाता है थ्रू केमिकल रिएक्शन? ओजोन. देयरफॉर वी कॉल इट एज अ सेकेंडरी पोल्यूटेंट. because secondary pollutant, because it undergoes a chemical reaction to form ozone. Understanding this? Tropospheric ozone is the biggest challenge we are going to face in next 10 years because vehicles are going to increase. Densely populated. Main is vehicles. Main is vehicles. And बाकी के fillers are densely populated because vehicles की density ज़्यादा होगी. Construction dust. उससे smog होगा. Ozone नहीं बनेगा. बहुत कम. But main is vehicles. वैसे तो छोटा is urbanization also क्योंकि air की movement वो रोक देता है. So all these are there. So any idea now how to fight smog or how to fight Delhi pollution? So आज अगर question आता है why Delhi is one of the most polluted metros in India, you know 2 points from factors affecting temperature कि सबसे पहले it is an continental city. Second, because it is a continental city, it experiences extremes of climate. So due to extremes of climate, it experiences temperature inversion where the air descends winter season and therefore it is polluted. Such temperature inversion is absent in Kolkata, Mumbai, Chennai. They do not have winters. Why? Because they are coastal cities. Third, Delhi has the largest number of vehicles in India. दिल्ली में व्हीकल की पॉपुलेशन कितना है? कितने व्हीकल्स है दिल्ली में? 1.2 crore vehicles are there, not human beings. 1.2 crore vehicles are there in Delhi, and this is just DL registered vehicles. It does not include HR, RJ, UP registered vehicles. If DL registered vehicles are 1 crore plus, means you should remember the number of vehicles in Delhi. ये 3 साल पहले का डेटा था. Number of vehicles in Delhi is twice the number of vehicles of Mumbai plus Kolkata plus Chennai. इन तीनों मेट्रोज में जितनी व्हीकल है उससे 2 गुना ज़्यादा व्हीकल्स है दिल्ली में. And as a result of this, Delhi में this pollution is there. And lastly, Delhi is the only city which is surrounded by farming region. Farming region तो pollen grains भी ज़्यादा है, pollutants भी ज़्यादा है, and air is also dry. Moisture अगर है air में तो it will fall down, but dry air it causes air pollution. Stubble burning, air pollution. नेक्स्ट कंस्ट्रक्शन एक्टिविटीज़ वो सब फिलर्स है. ऐसा नहीं कि दिल्ली इज़ द ओनली सिटी इन इंडिया जहाँ कंस्ट्रक्शन हो रहा है. कंस्ट्रक्शन इज ऑकरिंग इन ऑल द सिटीज़. इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन इज देयर इन ऑल द सिटीज़, बट दिल्ली का प्रॉब्लम्स आर स्पेसिफिकली जियोग्राफिकल प्रॉब्लम्स रिलेटेड टू इट्स लोकेशन. लैंडलॉक सिटी है. गेटिंग दिस? सो विद दिस बैकग्राउंड विल डू दिस टुमारो.